Oh, good. 5 of us, the same car for 7 hours. That's gonna be fun. Next time on Landman.
You don't even know what game you're playing, do you?
Let's not forget who we're burying tonight.
Snakes are cannibals, did you know that? My business is similar, but we have a code. We only eat other snakes.
Are you calling Tommy a snake?
Everything in Landman Season 2 has been building toward one tragedy that shatters everything the Norris family thought they could survive. And now, with Episode 4, Dancing Rainbows, that moment is finally here. A crash that rewrites relationships, exposes hidden guilt, and pulls Tommy deeper into the storm created by the very father he swore he'd never become. And if you think this show has already pushed its characters to the edge, Episode 4 makes it clear that the fall is only beginning. In Landman Season 2, Episode 4, the tone shifts instantly the moment the trailer begins, and you can feel it. Something is off. A single moment can destroy everything. And in Landman Season 2, Episode 4, that moment arrives fast, violent, and without warning. What begins as an ordinary day turns into the kind of nightmare that forces every member of the Norris family to face truths they've been avoiding. The trailer hints at smiles, calm skies, and a title like Dancing Rainbows. But if there's one thing we've learned from Taylor Sheridan, it's that peace on this show is just the quiet before the storm. Episode 4 is the point where the storm finally hits, and it hits hard enough to change the entire season. Section 1. Long paragraph form. Approximately 5,900 characters. Everything about Landman Season 2, Episode 4 feels like a turning point. The moment where the weight of all the choices, secrets, and past tragedies finally comes crashing down. The episode may carry a name that sounds hopeful, almost gentle, but that's exactly why it's unsettling. Sheridan loves disguising heartbreak with softness, and Dancing Rainbows is shaping up to be one of those deceptive titles that hides a brutal emotional punch. The trailer immediately makes it clear that something is wrong. The pacing is uneven, the camera lingers too long on quiet spaces, and the characters carry a tension that doesn't match the calm setting. It is the kind of tension you only see in this world right before disaster strikes. And disaster doesn't wait long. The Norris family, already pushed to their limits since the first episode, find themselves facing a tragic crash that shakes the entire community. This isn't just another problem on the oil field. This is a life-changing event, the kind that brings hidden conflicts to the surface and forces people to confront what they fear most. Sheridan shows again that in this series, tragedy isn't just a plot device. It's a force that reveals character, exposes weaknesses, and tests every bond within a family. The crash is more than a physical disaster. It becomes a symbolic one. The Norris family has spent years trying to keep their world from falling apart, dealing with danger, uncertain futures, and the harsh realities of an industry built on risk. But this moment feels different. It feels like a day of reckoning, precisely what the trailer suggests without fully explaining. You can sense the weight of the moment in every frame. The panic, the confusion, the quiet shock that comes after something irreversible. And while the show refuses to reveal all the details, the emotional impact is impossible to miss. Even without seeing the full scene, you understand immediately nothing will ever be the same. This is the kind of tragedy that makes characters question their past, their future, and the paths they have chosen. And just when the family is stumbling under the pressure, another huge shift arrives. Tommy's father, played by SamElliott, steps deeper into the story. His presence alone changes the temperature of the entire series. He brings a gravity, a history, and a kind of restrained fury that only Elliott can deliver. From the moment he appears, you know that everything is about to get more complicated. He carries the weight of old wounds and unspoken truths, and Episode 4 finally begins to peel back the layers of his relationship with Tommy. Their dynamic has already been simmering with tension, but tragedy has a way of accelerating everything. The father-son bond is tested, pushed, and forced into the open at the exact moment the Norris family needs unity the most. But unity is never easy in this world, not when grief, anger, and broken trust start rising all at once. Meanwhile, the oil field itself becomes a silent observer to the chaos. It stands there, unchanging, while the people who depend on it struggle to hold their lives together. Sheridan often uses the land as a character by itself, vast, unforgiving, and full of opportunities that always come with a price. In Episode 4, the land feels colder, more dangerous, and strangely symbolic of everything the Norris family is going through. It reflects the unpredictability of their lives. One moment calm, the next moment deadly. And with a crash of this magnitude, the entire community surrounding the oil fields begins to shift as well. Loyalties wobble, rumors spread, people begin asking questions that no one wants to answer. The ripple effect of this tragedy moves far beyond the immediate family. The most chilling part is how the trailer barely shows anything, and yet it says everything. Paramount Plus has been unusually quiet about episode 4, which is often a sign that something huge is coming. When a studio holds back instead of hyping every detail, it means they're protecting a moment that will hit hard, and fans know that Sheridan never wastes a tragedy. If he brings one in, it's because it will carry consequences that stretch across the whole season. Episode 4 feels like the spark that is going to ignite all those buried storylines, family struggles, power battles, emotional wounds, and the harsh truth that not everyone survives the storms of this world. Whatever happens next, Landman is about to shift into its most intense chapter yet. The deeper we move into Landman Season 2, Episode 4, the clearer it becomes that this tragic crash is not just a random incident thrown into the story for shock value. It is the moment everything has been quietly building toward. Sheridan plants emotional landmines across the first 3 episodes, tense conversations, unresolved arguments, half-hidden fears, and Episode 4 is where all of them finally detonate. The Norris family has been balancing between personal responsibility, loyalty, and survival for months, but the crash sends them spiraling into a new reality where nothing feels stable anymore. It is a reminder that in this world, disaster can come from anywhere, at any time, and no amount of preparation can shield you from fate. The episode takes this truth and stretches it across every character, making sure that the fallout hits them all in different ways. Some try to hold themselves together, some break instantly, and some begin showing sides of themselves that were never visible before this moment. Tommy, in particular, finds himself torn apart emotionally. Up until now, he has been trying to navigate his responsibilities like someone holding a fragile glass tower together with bare hands. He's been dealing with family pressure, personal guilt, dangerous work conditions, and the arrival of his father, all at once. But when tragedy hits, every buried emotion surfaces. The trailer captures a brief moment where Tommy looks completely lost, like he's trying to understand how quickly everything changed. That single expression hints at a storm raging inside him. He has always been the type to push through pain, to handle things silently, to carry the weight alone. But Episode 4 pushes him past the point where silence is possible. He has to face what he's been avoiding, the fact that some wounds do not heal simply because you ignore them, and this crash threatens to tear apart the already fragile dynamic between him and his father. SamElliott's character, Tommy's father, becomes a central figure in this emotional chaos. His arrival is not gentle. He doesn't comfort. He doesn't soften. He brings the harsh truth of a man who has lived through too much and trusts very little. Episode 4 forces him into a position where he must either step up for his son or step back permanently. And the complicated history between them makes every interaction feel heavy. His presence is like a shadow that stretches over the family, reminding them of old mistakes and unfinished conversations. There's a scene hinted at in the trailer where he stands apart from the rest, watching, assessing, holding something back. It's the kind of quiet tension that speaks louder than any argument. You get the sense that he sees the disaster as both a warning and an opportunity, a moment to reclaim something he lost long ago, or to accept that it's already too late. Sheridan uses him as the emotional anchor of the episode, a man whose past choices collide violently with the present. Meanwhile, the rest of the Norris family feels the impact in their own ways. Each member tries to navigate the sudden chaos differently, revealing fractures and fears that have been hiding underneath their attempts to stay strong. Angela, who has already had her share of disastrous moments this season, struggles with the overwhelming weight of responsibility. She tries to keep things together, but the crash forces her to realize that she cannot control everything. Her reaction is raw and real, making it clear that she is fighting against the rising panic that threatens to take over. But Sheridan doesn't portray her as weak. Instead, he shows her as someone desperately trying to protect what little sense of normalcy she has left. And that desperation becomes one of the most emotionally striking parts of the episode. Even secondary characters feel the ripple effects. Friends, coworkers, neighbors, everyone in this world is connected by the harsh reality of living near the oil fields. The crash shakes their routines, their assumptions, their sense of safety. Some begin questioning their roles in the community. Others worry that they could be next. Sheridan always uses tragedy to expose the hidden dynamics between people, and episode 4 is no exception. Small whispers turn into full-blown concerns, suspicions spread like wildfire. People start asking who was responsible, what went wrong, and whether it could have been prevented. It becomes clear that this is not just a personal tragedy, it's a community one. And the oil field itself, the beating heart of the series, becomes an even more ominous presence. The land feels more alive in episode 4, more threatening, more unpredictable. It's no longer just a setting, but a silent force watching the characters break under pressure. Sheridan's storytelling always treats the environment as a character, and here it stands as a reminder that every drop of oil comes with a cost. The people who work on this land live with danger every day, and episode 4 shows that danger catching up to them in the most devastating way. What makes this chapter even more unsettling is the sense that the crash is only the beginning. The trailer ends before giving any clear answers, leaving viewers with a feeling of unease. That incomplete picture is intentional. It suggests that the real story lies not just in the tragedy itself, but in what comes after. The Norris family will have to pick up the pieces, deal with consequences, confront secrets, and face the emotional fallout that will shape the rest of the season. Episode 4 feels like a doorway into a darker, heavier stretch of the narrative, where every choice carries double the weight and every mistake becomes harder to ignore. It is the moment that pushes the season into its next phase, one filled with grief, anger, revelation, and the possibility of even more danger ahead. As episode 4 moves forward, the emotional pressure within the Norris family reaches a breaking point, and the trailer hints that this is the moment when everyone begins to fracture under the weight of truth. The shock of the crash lingers in the air like a shadow no one can escape. It affects the way characters talk, the way they move, even the way they look at each other. Sheridan builds tension not through loud confrontations, but through small moments where characters say nothing, yet reveal everything. A long stare, a trembling breath, a silence that feels too heavy to ignore. Those quiet details carry more meaning than any words could, and they slowly pull the family apart the longer the episode continues. Tommy becomes the center of this storm again, but this time he's not just fighting grief or fear, he's fighting himself. The trauma from the crash triggers memories he's been trying to bury for years, memories tied directly to his father. These two men have spent a lifetime avoiding the real issues between them, but tragedy has a way of burning away excuses. Tommy begins showing signs that the pressure is getting to him. Shorter sentences, shorter temper, moments where he loses his sense of direction and just stands still, overwhelmed by everything closing in on him. You can tell he wants to stay strong for his family, but he's cracking piece by piece. And because Sheridan understands human behavior so well, the script doesn't make these cracks obvious at first. They appear slowly, subtly, in the way Tommy avoids eye contact, or the way he hesitates before answering someone. It's a slow unraveling, and it feels real because pain rarely hits all at once. Sometimes it leaks out until you can't keep it inside anymore. Tommy's father sees this unraveling, but he doesn't reach out with softness or reassurance. That's not who he is. He tries to guide Tommy the only way he knows how, with harsh truths, blunt advice, and the kind of emotional distance that feels like another wound instead of support. But beneath that hard exterior, there is something else. Fear. Episode 4 hints that this man is terrified of losing his son the same way he's lost other things in his life. His fear disguises itself as frustration and impatience, but it's there, shaping every sentence he speaks. Their relationship becomes one of the most gripping parts of this episode because you can feel both love and resentment clashing inside every conversation. Sheridan captures this type of father-son dynamic perfectly. Two men who want to connect, but don't know how to speak the language of vulnerability. So their emotions come out sideways, in anger, in silence, in moments where they should comfort each other, but instead push each other away. Angela, meanwhile, becomes the emotional backbone holding the family together, even though she's struggling just as much as the rest. She moves through this episode like someone trying to stay upright during an earthquake. She offers support, she tries to bring order, she tries to understand what went wrong, but she's shaken too. And the trailer hints at a moment where Angela confronts the reality that she cannot keep pretending everything is fine. Her strength has been admirable all season, but episode 4 forces her to face her own limits. Her fear is quieter than Tommy's, but it runs deep. She worries about the family's future. She worries about losing the people she loves. She worries that things are falling apart faster than she can hold them together. And that fear becomes one of the emotional anchors of the episode, grounding the story in something painfully human. Outside the Norris home, tensions in the wider community continue to rise. The oil workers feel uneasy. Supervisors are scrambling for answers. Rumors swirl around like dust in the wind, some based in truth, others based in panic. The crash becomes a topic everyone whispers about, but no one fully understands. Some blame management, some blame the workers, some blame the land itself, and that confusion creates new conflicts that start spreading through the town. Sheridan uses this moment to show how tragedy affects not just the people directly involved, but everyone around them. The need to find someone to blame grows stronger. The need to make sense of something senseless grows louder. And because this is a Sheridan series, those rising tensions are not just background noise, they're the first signs of new storylines that will explode later in the season. The environment continues to play an unsettling role in this episode. The land feels harsher. The horizon seems darker. Even the sky appears heavier in the small glimpses the trailer gives. It's as if the world around these characters is reflecting their emotional state, mirroring the chaos inside their minds. Sheridan's visual storytelling always pushes the environment forward as a silent participant, and episode 4 uses that approach masterfully. The land feels unforgiving, as if reminding everyone that survival here has always come with a price. It's a reminder that the oil fields don't care about human suffering. They keep moving, keep working, keep demanding, no matter what happens to the people who depend on them. What makes this part of the episode especially gripping is the increasing sense that this tragedy is not isolated. The trailer's final seconds hint at hidden dangers, unfinished business, and the possibility that more trouble is coming. There are unanswered questions, details that don't add up, characters who look like they're hiding something. And Sheridan loves to plant small clues early that only reveal their full meaning episodes later. Episode 4 feels like the moment where all these threads tighten, pulling the story into a more dangerous direction. Every character feels one step away from a breaking point. Every moment feels like it could lead to something bigger. This tension builds and builds, creating the sense that episode 4 is not the climax, but the spark before the real fire begins. As episode 4 reaches its final stretch, the emotional intensity that has been building since the beginning reaches a point where something has to break, and Sheridan makes sure that every character feels the impact in a different way. The crash may have been the triggering event, but the real damage comes afterward, when each person is forced to confront what they've been hiding, denying, or running from. The Norris family stands at a crossroads, one path leading toward painful truth, the other toward deeper chaos, and the trailer suggests that neither direction offers comfort.